sort of meditation which is envisaged in this book. That is the meditation as Soham, I am that. It is not a meditation simply as I am that. But later on you will see he has even modified it for people who won't be able to do that I am that they may just think of the Atman. Atmanam paryupasayet. Again and again he has been telling in the previous one. Just to think of what? Not attributes of Atman. Atman has no attributes. You can only say what Atman is not. You cannot say what Atman is. You cannot say that Atman is black, Atman is white, Atman is tall, Atman is short. No, nothing can be told about Atman. But you can negate everything. You can say Atman is not short, Atman is not tall, Atman has no dimensions, Atman has no color. So, by negating all the attributes of things which are non-self, then what is left is self. Everything other than the Atman in this world, all objects, they are all considered as non-self. They are all anatma vastu. They have nothing to do with the Atman. So, all of them have got some description. You can say this is dark, this is blue, this is occupying so much space, this is a gas, this is a liquid, this is a solid. Or its temperature is like this, its velocity is like this. So in several ways you can describe. But as far as Atman is concerned, you can only describe it by negating all the attributes of non-self. Then what is left is only self. That is the only way. So here he says there is no need of anything else. It is a self-supporting technique. Normally, many of the people, they go to a guru, sir, please give me initiation, please give me a mantra. Yes, what's your favorite deity? Krishna? Yes, I'll give you a mantra and Krishna. But in this case, no mantra is required, because if you only think of the Atman, it gives the same results as the mantra and perhaps more. It is a direct method, while mantra is an indirect method. By directly thinking of the Atman, it is a simple and direct method, and there is no need of any other mantra at all. Mantroyam, this is a mantra which I am going to chant. All these notions you have to leave. Leave all these notions. Sarva bhavan parityajya. Bhava means thoughts, notions, ideas. So leave off these ideas that I am now going to do mantra, that I am now going to think of Bala mantra, Bala Devi, or I am now going to think of Rajarajeshwari, I am now going to think of Lord Krishna, going on telling the Dhyana Shloka. Because along with every mantra, you have to think of a deity in a particular form. If it is Bala, one form of the Divine Mother, you just to think that she is all absolutely reddish-like, she is called Aruna. So like that you have to think, Aruna Kirana Jalayi Ranjit Asavakasha. So everywhere the reddish hue, it is going. The rays of the reddish hue are spreading everywhere in all directions. Like that you will have to think of a form of that Devata. Here no Devata is involved. You are only seeking your own self. Your self has got no form. You are your own self. So, the question of a Devata doesn't arise. The question of a deity does not arise. Then, Yeshat, it is written, that you have to delete. It is only Yesha Devata. Yesha Devata. Then, Devata, they have put afterwards 2 dots. The dots have to be taken away. It is not plural, it is singular. It is Yesha is singular, Devata is singular. So, Mantraha, Ayam Devata. No visarga afterwards. Then, Yesha, still to be deleted. Yesha tu. Mantroyam Devata Kyesha Tvidam Dhyanam idam tapaha. To think of the Atman is sufficient meditation. You need not go and find out various types of other meditation. As I was telling, thinking of the entire infinite sky, thinking of the infinite ocean. There are several methods which are nowadays given. Think of purity, think of love. So, none of these types of meditation are required. Simply go on thinking of Atman, that Atman is untainted, Atman has no dimensions, Atman is Shunya, Atman does not depend on any external factors. Like that you go on thinking of the Atman, that is sufficient meditation. Dhyana means meditation. Then idam tapaha. Tapas means austerity. Austerity means taking some particular vows. I am not going to take food at night. Only one time I will take meals. Or there are what are known as various types of vratas or vows which people undertake for purifying their body. One of them is called the Chandrayana Vrata. Another is called the Prajapatya Vrata. They are all prescribed as prashchitta for purification of the body, where today you take 15 handfuls of food, daily you take one less. Then on the Amavasya day, you will take only one handful over, you will wash your hands. Then again from the next day you will start 2, then 3, then 4, then up to 15. This is called the Chandrayana Vrata. But here, no such type of subjecting your body to such austerities, nothing is required. You need not teach your body at all. No tapaha, no austerities. Sarva bhavan parityajya swatma bhavan subhavi. Leave up all other thoughts. Sarva bhavan parityajya. Leave up all these thoughts that I want to do dhyan, I want to do austerity, I want to think of one deity, I want to do some mantra, the chanting of a mantra, sacred syllables for incantation. No, none of these things are required. But what is required? Swatma bhavam prabhavi. Think of your own self as given the Maharaj Brandi has given above, the methods which have been enumerated earlier. So in that manner, you go on thinking of the Atman, that's all. Nothing else is required. Swatma bhavam. Bhavam means thought. Swatma means his own self. Think of your own self. Bhavayet, you think. You have only thoughts of your own self and nothing more is required. Now we go to the next one. Abhavo bhavamachritya bhavam kuryan nirashrayam atma samstham manakritva nakinchidapi chintaye. Yes, this is a slightly difficult poem to understand because it has got several interpretations. Because the interpretation which Bhagavan has given, so we can't say anything, but that interpretation does not tally with the grammar and sequence of the Sanskrit language there. So, that's with inspiration. So, according to the interpretation given down below here in these translations, Abhavo bhavamashatya. Abhavo means the mind has to be made bereft of all thoughts. But how to do it? Bhavam ashritya has been taken as adjective to the mind, which cannot be due to the grammar necessity. Because manaha is something else and the bhavam ashritya, it is only to the karta, it is only the subject, manaha is not the subject here. So bhavam ashritya means the mind is full of thoughts. Rather it says the mind is depending on thoughts. Otherwise there is no mind if there are no thoughts. So bhavam ashritya. So that mind, which is always full of thoughts, what you have to do? Bhavam nirashrayam kuryat. You make it in such a way that the thoughts have got no hold. They cannot think of a grandson, they cannot think of some idli, they cannot think of anything. Remove all the objects. Dependent not by your bank account, absolutely have no care. Then where will the mind go? The mind will not think of anything of these things. The mind cannot remain without holding on to something. If there are no thoughts, there will be no mind at all. So what the mind does, it goes back to the source, into the heart. Then, again the same thing he says, Atma samstham manakrutva. Now that the mind has disappeared, you live in the Atma. Atma samstham manakrutva. The Atman is there in the heart. The mind has gone there. So, the mind which is inside, it will live only in the Atman. The mind and the Atman, they become one because both of them are at the source. They get identified with each. The mind will not think of anything else. It will remain established in the Atma. Atma samstham. Making it kritva, making it established in the self alone. Nakinchida vichintayet. Do not think of anything else. Simply remind your mind is one with the Atman. You live in the Atma. So nakinchida vichintayet means here it's a case of Unmani Bhava. Unmani Bhava means where the mind becomes a no mind. There will be no mind at all when there are no thoughts. And the only Atman also will not be a thought. You will live in the Atman and you will think that you are the Atman, you will remain as the Atman, you will not think of the Atman. I am a man. Do I think every minute that I am a man, I am a man? I live as a man. The question of thinking that I am a man doesn't arise. Similarly, I will remain as Atman, I will not think of Atman, nothing to the Vibhavi, nothing to the Vipintai. I will not think of him. Then, another interpretation is, Abhavaha is Pullinga. There is nothing here which is a Pullinga. Bhavam, all these things are in the second case. This is in the first case. So, Abhavaha represents the aspirant, the seeker, the sadhana. Then there is another interpretation. So, Abhavaha. How does he come to that no mind state? According to many of the scriptures, the way to come to the mindless state is reduce all the thoughts into one thought. You seek recourse or refuse to one thought. Reduce it to the thought of the Lord, of Brahman, of Atma. So, bhavam ashritya. You will now seek shelter only in one thought. And when once it is concentrated in one, to remove this one is easy. You cannot remove multiple thoughts at one stroke. So you have to reduce, the mind will not leave. It will cling to something. So you give some object to hold. Your child, it was holding a radio in its hand. You are afraid it may fall down. So you remove. The child will not allow. It will make such a fuss. So you have to give something in return. Give a stick, give a stone, give something else. Which if it is lost, it doesn't mind. In the same way, you will have to give something for the mind to cling to. Give that Atma. And how to give that Atma? It is already described in the earlier one. Swatma bhavam sabhaviyet and Swarupam bhaviyet, Atmanam paripasayet. In the past 10 or 12 slokas, he has said how to think of the Atman, going on thinking of the Atman, by negating all other attributes of anatavastus. That is the non-self items. So, bhavam puryat nirashrayam. Now first you reduce it to one thought, then you remove that base also, you will be only remaining as Atma. You will first give that thought. In other words, in the Upanishad, I have already told you the method is, you go on thinking of that one thought alone. Then what happens is in due course it attains so much of potentiality, it will blow up only, it will explode, it becomes a hydrogen bomb, it will explode and tear off the veil, the Maya's veil, which is covering the Atma. As also the projections which are given in a multiple way, all these things will be blown to pieces. And in that process, this thought of Atman also dies. You come to a thoughtless state. So that is the in-between state. And then you will be getting your enlightenment in due course. That is, whether you do mantra, whether you do japa, whether you do dhyan, whether you do tapasya, the final state where everything converges is the mindless state. You have to come to that before you can come face to face with the Brahman, before you can realize it. So, presumably perhaps it might mean that also. So naturally, Atma samstham manakritva nakintu the teaching. So keep the mind as Atman, when once the mindless state has come, and don't think of anything. The next one is Nayeva chintyam nachachintyam achittam chittameva katehe vakshapata vinirmuktaha atmanam paryupasaye. Again he comes to the old refrain, atmanam paryupasaye. One should meditate on the Atman thus. How to meditate on the Atman? In this way. Nayeva chintyam. You cannot imagine what Atman is. You cannot think of it because there will be no whole. You know nothing about the Atman. So on what subject can you think about the Atman? You do not know its weight. You do not know its height. You do not know its velocity. You know nothing about it. So naturally it is achintya. It is beyond thoughts. You cannot conceive of it in any manner. Whatever you conceive of, it will be only your thoughts, your imagination, your dream. It won't be the reality. Then it cannot be thought of. Nacha achintyam. You cannot say it cannot be thought of. Why it cannot be thought of? Because all thoughts emanate from the mind. How the mind works? Why it all the mind works? The mind is a jadavatu, it is inert. So inert objects, say there is a chariot of a king. It cannot run by itself. You have to keep a chetana, you have to add a horse to it, as well as a driver, then only it will run. So no inert object can activate itself unless motivated by another external force. We come to the second law of Newton. So that is the inert object. An object which has no consciousness. This will not move by itself unless I move it. So it requires another Chaitanya, another conscious being to remove it. That is why it is called inert. It has no consciousness of itself by itself. So the mind has been activated by a reflection of the ray of this consciousness. The consciousness of the Supreme Being which is everywhere, it comes inside each jiva, each body, and its rays come, it attacks the buddhi or the mind. Then the mind gets activated by the heat of that ray, by the reflection of that ray. That is why it is working. The mind works due to two reasons. Number one, it is made of sattva. It is purely sattvic. But it cannot work by itself. It is being activated by the chit, by the consciousness of the supreme awareness. So, as the consciousness is the main ingredient which makes the mind work, how can you say that it has nothing to do with the mind? The very mind is made up of this consciousness. So you cannot say it is beyond thoughts, because the mind means thoughts, and the mind is being activated by this. It is in close association. So, if you adopt the proper techniques, the techniques as enunciated in this book, or by various other people, the technique of self-inquiry, promulgated by Bhagavan, or any other methods as enunciated in the Upanishad, if you adopt any of those techniques, then you can think of him at that time you don't think with your mind. It is a spontaneous absorption in the Atman itself. So, it is slightly different, but you cannot say you cannot think of it. What prevents you from thinking of Atman? Say Atman, Atman, Atman. It's a thought. So you cannot say it is achintya. You cannot say it is chintya. You cannot say that you can think of it. You cannot say I cannot think of it. Then, see, these contradictions essentially come where you are trying to describe a thing which is indescribable. Things which are beyond words, when you try to explain, it will look like babbling. It can't be helped. You have to understand in the best manner possible. That's all. Achittam chittameva prati. You cannot say it is not the mind, achittam. Because we say, I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am the Atma. That means Atman is not the body. Atman is not the mind, achittam. Atman is not the mind. Chitta here means the mind. So Atman is not the mind. Chittam eva tat. But at the same time, it is the mind. But for the consciousness, there would not have been any mind. The mind cannot work. So from that point of view, the mind itself is Atman. This we can say. I mean, this is from a different point of view. Pakshapata vinirmukta. So the question of I like him, I don't like him. This will come only when there are 2-3 people apart from him. When Atman alone exists, when nobody else is there, when all the objects are made up of the Atman, the question of Pakshapata, the question of predilection, the question of being inclined well towards somebody or ill towards another, having a good will towards somebody, having ill will towards another, all these things do not arise. Pakshapata vinirmuktam, bereft of any favoritism. Then Atmanam paripassayi. So in other words, it's a choiceless awareness. What is Pakshapata? Pakshapata means you choose. He is a person I like. He is my friend. I don't like him. I don't want to talk to him. So it's a choice. This is a case of choiceless perception, choiceless meditation. Whatever comes you accept, whatever goes, because you are all, you are the Atman. The question of choosing something, the question of liking something, disliking something, nothing arises. It's a choiceless identification with everything in the world. Now we come to the next. Achintyam chintayen nityam kritva chittam nirashrayam nitatve gali bhute indratyatmani yattukham. These two shlokas will have to be taken together because it is connected with that. The real verb is in the second one for this person. Nirvikalpam achintyancha hetu drishtanta varjitam tattukham paramam proktam atyantikam anaupamam. What you should do, the one who is beyond the mind, that is Achintyam. Achintyam means the one who is beyond all concepts of the mind, the one who is beyond the mind. Nityam Chitte, daily think of it. What does it mean? You just think, oh Atman, you cannot be thought of in any manner. No words can reach you, no mind can reach you. You are beyond all. Only by direct perception I can have you. None of my senses, including my mind, can catch you. This is how you have to think first. So, Achintyam Chintayen Nityam, this is the first process. The first process is think of him constantly, use your thought. Concentrate all your thoughts on this one thought. Again here, this also shows, this is continuation of the previous one. So normally, how to interpret a poem, there are 6 signals which have been given to us. It is Tatparya Nirnaya Linga. You should see earlier what they have told, subsequently what they have told, whether they agree. See, which has been repeated again and again, Abhyasaha, Apurvata, Upakrama, Upasamara, they have given all these things. So naturally here, he again says, first have the thought. Reduce the multiple thoughts to one thought and think constantly, incessantly of this Atman who is beyond all thoughts. Achintyam chintayen nityam. Then what he will do? Kritva chittam nirashrayam. Now he says, Bhagavan also has written, Shintai Sevai Dinamum. Then Shintai Ettadadaye Shintai Sevai Dinamum. Then Shintai Nirashrayam Seide Ni. So first you think of the Lord, you think of the Atman, go on thinking of Him. You will get the power where you can detect all thoughts at one stroke. Initially, your power was distributed, dispersed over thousands of thoughts. So not one thought had any power. Now, you concentrate everything on one thought, your mind gets the potential of all the strength which becomes concentrated. Now at one stroke, put this fellow. You have got 100 enemies to fight. Any one of them, make him your friend. Both of you together, you destroy the entire enemy. Now this fellow is there. He will also like to sit on the throne. Then by some means get rid of this fellow also. Then you have no enemies, you are the king, you are the Lord of Lords. In the same way, Achintyam Chintayen Nityam. Then what will you do? Chittam Nirashrayam Krutva. Nirashrayam means just to remove the board on which it is sitting. The mind is sitting on some object. Here it is sitting on the Atman. So not even the Atman, you remove that thought also, make your mind absolutely a no mind. There will be no thought. Again he is going to say in the next one also about Kumbhani Bhava, where the mind goes away, when no thought arises in the mind, that is called the no mind state, or it is called Kumbhani Bhava. In some of Shastras, especially Siddhas, they talk of Kumbhani Bhava. Whoever is the Siddha communities, they believe in this Kumbhani Bhava, where the mind is completely destroyed. The word is a special technical word by them. Otherwise, this thought is used everywhere. To make it thoughtless, we have got in Ashtavakra Gita, we have got it in Yoga Vasishta. Everything talks of destroying the mind. We use the word manonasha. Normally in Advaita, in all the books, we call it as destruction of the mind. It is once for all destroyed, the mind will not come. This is called manonasha. So, Kirtva Chittam Nirashrayam. Remove all the objects from it so that it will have no base, it will have no support, it will have no shelter, it will have no refuge. Where will it go? Then, Nistatve. Now nothing will come in your mind. All the tattvas all go away. Because the entire world is made up of 24 tattvas according to the Sankhya. It is made up of 36 tattvas according to the Shaivagama. Like that people divide them into various number of fundamental principles. Fundamental, it is not called realities, we can call it relative realities. The basic particles by which the entire world is made of, we are thinking of 24. Those 24 are, I have already told you once, the Panchabhutas are the 5 elements, like earth, air, water, sky, etc. Then the 10 indriyas, 5 of these senses of action, 5 senses of perception, total 10. So 10 plus 5, 15. Now the rest 5 are, they are considered as the subtle characteristics of those 5 elements. Earth has got the quality of smell. From the earth only the smell comes. The water has quality of the taste. Supposing when your mouth is dry, You eat anything, you can't find the taste. So the taste comes through the water only. So water's main characteristic is to give taste. Fire is to give rupa. Skin is to give the sensation of touch, sparsha. So sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, like that, there are 5 tanmatras. Tanmatras means the characteristics of the subtle element. Total 20. Now 4 more are left. The 4 more are Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. That is, Mana means the portion of the mind which just gives you various alternatives. You may go to Ramanasramam, you may go to Uti for the race, it gives you that. Who takes the decision? That is Buddhi. That is the intellect. And how does it take the decision? You find out from the previous quarter that there is similar cases how we have judged. Have you allowed him to go to Uti or have you allowed to go to Ramanasramam? Find out from the archives. And that is Chitta. Chitta is the computer memory. And then who is the executor? Who is the managing director who has to implement it? I, Aham, Ahankara. So these are the 4. Total is 24. All these tattvas, all the objects have disappeared, all the tattvas have disappeared, so nistasmi. When all the basic principles which underlie all the objects of the world, they have disappeared, nishkali bhute atmani, then only Atman alone remains. And what sort of an Atmanity? That Atman is not in installments. That Atman is one whole. Why do you call it one whole? Because it is an undifferentiated stage. It is not that I have got one Atman, Mr. Lal has got another Atman, and Mr. Bhagavan Ramana has got the third Atman. No, we believe only in one Atman. So, Nishkali Bhute, Kala. Kala means a portion, one of the degrees. We say a man is full if you have got 16 degrees. Bhagavan is supposed to have 16 degrees of, 16 is considered the maximum. So when he came as Rama, we say he used only 12 degrees of his powers. When he came as Krishna, he used all the 16. It is supposed to be a full avatar. So in that way, they are called the kalas, because the moon has got 16 kalas. So one kala is always remaining, it is not reduced. So the rest 15, they go up, they come down, and on the Paurnami day it becomes full. All the 16 digits are supposed to be there. So, Nishkali Bhute Atmani. So, when you are only in that Atman, now everything has gone. Now there is no thought even of Atman, because the mind has gone away, you can't think. Now you are spontaneously, you are remaining as Atman. When you are remaining in that manner, in that Atman, when you remain established, yat sukham vindati, whatever pleasure you are getting, that pleasure is the supreme pleasure. There is nothing equal to it. There is no comparison. It is an incomparable, ineffable bliss. So that it comes in the second sloka, tat sukham paramam proktam. It is that sukha, it is that happiness which is considered the most supreme. There is no other happiness beyond it. So, yat sukham atmani vindati. In that stage of no mind stage, when you remain as Atman, you will find there are waves of bliss and ecstasy which will never stop. It has a switch. You can only put it on. It cannot be put off. It won't work. It works only in one direction. Once you put it on, it will never be extinguished. It is a permanent, perennial bliss. It will be flowing. It is akhanda. Nishkali bhute, that's why he said. Now, further, what sort of Atman it is and what sort of sukha you get? You said it is supreme. Can you describe what do you mean by supreme? Now he describes that absolute happiness how it will be. Nirvikalpam achintyancha. Nirvikalpam, it is undifferentiated. What is meant by undifferentiated? Now in the worldly objects, when you get the pleasure which you get by fondling your young son who is 6 months old, that is different. But the pleasure which you get when you take idli with chutney, beautiful coconut chutney, that is different. So there is a difference in the sukhas. There is a gradation. You cannot say that both are the same. Or when you come to Ramanashram and be here for 3 days, you get a sukha, that is of the third kind. It is not just like fondling your son. It is not just like taking idli. This is something else. It is an indescribable bliss you get. Like that. The pleasures of the worldly ones, they can be differentiated, they can be graded, so there is a gradation. But this is nirvikalpam. It is an undifferentiated, there is only one grade, it will never come down, it will never increase, because that is the very maximum. So nirvikalpam, undifferentiated. Then, achintyancha, as we have already said, can you tell me how much pleasure I will get when I go to the Atman? I would like to know. Because there is no comparison, you cannot say it will be like taking idli. You cannot say it will be like fondling your child, or it will be like getting a lottery of 20,000 lakhs of rupees, 20 lakhs of rupees. You cannot say. So this is something which is beyond thought. Even the bliss which you get is so much, it is so infinite. There is no comparison. You cannot conceive of it. You cannot think of it. It is an infinite bliss. It is achintya. It is beyond your thoughts. Then, hetu drishtanta varjita. All the pleasures you get in this world, they have got a cause. They don't come by itself from you. Early morning when you get, suddenly you don't jump with joy. You jump with joy when you hear a news that India has won the cricket match. Then, so there is a reason for your sukha. The pleasure you get, it is because I took idli. It is because I got the news that India has won in the cricket match. Or it is because of the news I got that BJP has won and it is going to form the center. I get pleasure out of it. So there is a hetu, there is a reason. But in the case when you are remaining in the Atman, it just comes from inside you. It is an inexhaustible reservoir from which that happiness comes. You can see the face of Bhagavan sometimes. It looks he is suppressing an infinite bliss inside him. That face looks as if it will burst at any time into such a happiness. You can see in some of the pictures you will see. Yes, there is a stage of a Jivan Buddha. He is in such infinite bliss. He would like to be laughing. But because he is in the world, he contains himself. Yes. Somebody asked Bhagavan, well, you are not very old. See, when he was perhaps 50 years or so, somebody had met him. And why is it that your hand shakes and your head is nodding always? He said, hey, if you keep an elephant confined into under a small room with a small roof, what will happen, you imagine? That cottage will be shaking like anything. This is what is happening. So, hetu drishtanta varjitam. Drishtanta varjitam means it is bereft of any parallel. There cannot be any simile. There cannot be any upama. You cannot say this is like that. Oh, this sukha, it is just like you are going to London. So what pressure you will get? That pressure, no. It is beyond all. So as such, there is neither any cause for it. It comes spontaneously by itself. And the drishtanta varjitam. There is no parallel, there is no analogy for it. And what else? Atyantikam anaupamam. Anaupamam also means there is no drishtanta. Upama nasti. Anupamam, unparalleled. Atyantikam. Atyantikam means it is not which comes and goes. The pleasure in idli comes when you eat the idli. When you go to your room and you get the gas trouble, now that goes away that happiness, you are having only dukkha. So, it is not atyantika. Atyantika means when it comes, it persists, it remains with you, it will never deteriorate, it will never come down, it will never decrease. It is atyantika. It is called absolute. The rest of them are all relative. Oh, compared to that, today I am getting a little more. That's all. It is called the relative pleasures, while that is called the absolute pleasure. Atyantikam anupamam. Tat sukham paramam proktam. Atyantikam anupamam. So this is the sort of the supreme pleasure which you get. So that he has described. What is the pleasure you get? When your mind becomes absolutely without thoughts, and when it is established in Atman. Established in Atman means do not think of Atman, remain as Atman. That's all. Now the next one. Nirasya vishaya sangam manovrittim vivarjayet yada ayati kumbani bhavam tada tat paramam sukham. If you want to make your mind a no mind, if you want to destroy all thoughts once for all, for good, what you should do is, why at all the thoughts come? Many people complain that whenever they sit for their meditation, the confidence doesn't come, some thoughts are there, go on coming for hours together. They are not even aware of it. After 45 minutes, oh my Lord, oh, I never thought of God, but my mind was going elsewhere. Why? This is the most common malady everybody asks. The reason is, for lakhs and lakhs of births, we had forgotten God. We were beautifully indulging ourselves in tennis, in cricket, and in cinemas, all these things, and in eating, and in drinking, various things. Especially in the south, we are famous for our various varieties of food. Nowhere in India have got so many varieties as we have here. Upma, vada, this thing, that thing, pongal, dosha, idli. If you go to the north in the morning, you can get only puri. That is the only difference you can get anywhere. So, we are all famous for indulging in our palate. And out of 24 hours, we spend 7 hours in sleep or 6 hours in sleep. Out of the rest, you just do your meditation for 1.5 hours daily. Sure, I have been doing for 30 years regularly, nothing happens to me. But nothing can happen. God can happen. When the 99% of your life you are spending with the world only will come. You spend 90% of your life with God, God will come. It is very easy. So, unless we remove all the vasanas of the world which have accumulated from us, and take care that no fresh vasanas come, daily inputs are there. Through the newspaper, all the violence of the world, it goes into your heart and the subconscious mind. Through TVs, all TVs contain pictures of violence, deceit, all sorts of things, murders, all sorts of things. Things which are not healthy for any boy. Such things are seen by boys. With the result, America is highly worried about it. There are so many articles which are coming. Because all the boys have not developed the violence. Most of the boys who are studying in 4th, 5th standard, 6th standard, they possess their own pistols. And if a boy, if he asks him, give me your pencil, if he refuses, shoot. That's all, nothing but that. And this is happening every day there. So this culture has come because you are daily seeing violence. It goes into you. That is the reason. So, nirasya vishaya sangam, leave off all attachment to any object of the world, asanga. Here the word is Vishaya Asangam. It is not Vishaya Sangam, no. Vishaya Asangam. Asanga means complete attachment all around. A means all around. So the complete attachment towards all the worldly objects, nirasya. Nirasya means you just abandon them completely. Send them off to the Sahara desert. Don't keep them anywhere near you. Nirasya, having got rid of all the attachments to the worldly objects, manovrittim vivarjaye, then leave all the thoughts. Otherwise, so long as the worldly objects you are keeping with you, then the mind will be living on one of them. It will be living either on your debentures, on your shares, on your bank account, on your office, or on your relatives, or the marriage which is to take place for your daughter. All these things only will come. So, mano vrittim vivrjayet. Vritti means the modification of the mind, the various thoughts. Leave off all thoughts. Then, yada ayati ummani bhavam. Thus, when a no mind state comes, ayati comes. Unmani bhava means state. Unmana means when the mind has gone up, it has gone away. Utti means up. So the mind is no longer with you, it has gone upwards, it has disappeared. So unmani bhavam, when the no mind state comes, then what happens? Tada tat paramam sukham. Then you get a supreme bliss by itself. When the mind goes away, taking that Atman alone remains. You are one with the Atman, you come face to face with him, nothing more is required, and you get that final, ineffable, absolute bliss. Tat paramam sukham. It is the supreme bliss.